Good morning and welcome to the LCI Greater Des Moines Community of Practice meeting. Thank you for joining us. Today's topic is A3 Thinking, a LCI Lean Learning Series presentation. This is one of the 8 LCI Lean Learning Series presentations. This month's sponsor is myself, it's Carmichael Consulting Services. I have noted the email address for our community of practice in the lower left-hand corner, and I will share that again at the end of the presentation. Our community of practice in Central Iowa is set up to connect, share, and learn. Connect with owners, architects, and contractors, share your lean journey, and learn about industry trends and best practices. I would like to thank Bosch and their product Refine My Site as being a national financial sponsor for the LCI Communities of Practice. Thank you to Bosch for your financial support. Save the date. The 24th LCI Congress is being held in October 18th through the 21st in New Orleans, Louisiana. Note the link of lcicongress.org/2022, and registration opened on July 11th of this year. Check out their website, check out the agenda. There are many great learning opportunities at this year's 24th LCI Congress. The conditions of satisfaction for this presentation. This presentation is copyrighted by the Lean Construction Institute. Slides or material may not be copied or used in any way other than this presentation. This presentation may be shared in PDF format only with the participants. We have the list of people that have registered for this morning's event. We will be glad to send you a PDF of the slides for those that have attended at the noted email address. A3 Thinking. This topic introduces A3 thinking for collaborative problem solving. You will learn the definition of an A3, the problem solving structure with an explanation of each step on the A3 format. This presentation includes 2 industry A3 examples, and I'm also including one of my own personal examples to show you it doesn't need to be complicated when you have a smaller problem. And the industry examples show you the level of detail you can have when you're solving real-world project problems. For those that need AIA or AGCM Lean or other continuing education credits, you will need to self-report your attendance at today's presentation. You may come into this morning's presentation at the unaware level. You're never even heard of A3 thinking, or you may be aware of A3 thinking, but you don't know the details. It's great that you've joined us today, and I hope to take you from unaware to aware, and from awareness with the knowledge of the presentation, you can move into understanding. And understanding will take place when you use today's material, use it once, use it twice, use it many times, and with practice and continuous improvement, you will improve your ability to use the A3 thinking problem-solving tools. And with that, master this again. In Lean, learning is continuous, and it comes from practicing and by using the Lean tools. We all want to make sound decisions. In our careers, we're faced with many decisions that remind us of this picture, which shows an apple and an orange, and you're trying to decide, and the choices don't appear equal, and they typically are not equal in all parameters. A3 is about a problem-solving process that leads to sound decisions, and this can have a large impact on minimizing the waste in the processes on your projects. The design processes and its many steps, waste can be reduced there. And in the many construction processes and the many steps, waste can also be reduced there. Decision making is fundamentally a form of problem solving. A problem presents itself. What are the many solutions we should consider? What solutions shall we implement it, and then check on the progress of the implementation. It's the plan, do, check, act approach of lean construction. Plan the work, do the work, check the progress, and act after reflection and improve the process for the next cycle. A3 thinking for problem solving. I'll walk you through the several examples. It's a plan, do, check, act process. It's a visual presentation. The team collaborates, records all of the steps and their progress. And the title A3 is based on the size of the paper, 11 inches by 17 inches. And what you're striving for is that the team becomes into alignment and you reach a consensus on how to solve the problem. And I'll walk you through the many steps. And this is a true application of the plan, do, check, act process. So how is this structured? We have a title where you describe the problem. You list the collaborators, who is involved, full names. What's the background of the problem? And I'll show you 3 examples of how you can define the problem. What's the current condition? What is the problem? What are its symptoms? How do you measure that? Where do you want to be? Identify the desired outcome. When the problem is solved, how do the processes now function? And how do we know the problem has been solved? You can analyze it for the root causes. My favorite is the 5 why approach. And one of the industry examples I'm going to share show the 5 why approach used to help them drill down to the root cause of the problems they were experiencing as a builder. Propose countermeasures, propose solutions. I have 3 examples, and they're very different. And it shows you how powerful the A3 thinking process is. You can apply it to any problem, from the most complex project problem to the simplest problems you would face with the home that you own. What is your implementation plan? What are the different options you are considering? Include their advantages, their disadvantages, cost, schedule, energy efficiency, compliance with LEED, L-E-E-D, for sustainability, and other criteria. And you create a follow-up process where you hold people accountable to follow up and see that the solution that has been selected has been implemented, and you follow up to see how effective the solution performs. Let's look at an A3 example from the industry. This first one was shared by J.E. Dunn. It was shared with LCI. I will next show you a slightly enlarged version of this image so it's easier to follow along. At the top, we have the title, and here they named it Planning Standards. There's a champion, there's a date, and most important, who are the collaborators on this A3 problem-solving process. State the problem. With significant growth projected and limited availability in the workforce, we need to find ways to remove the noise for our foreman and skilled trade workers so they can be as efficient and effective as possible with their time. What's the current state? Based on surveys of 129 foremen and superintendents, there's the question, how did you learn to plan and execute work? And here it's presented in graphical form. The next examples I will show you, they're completely different current state presentations. The future state, they want to have a baseline process for planning work along with a process for tracking productivity to measure and improve their performance. The analysis using the 5 why approach. Planning is inconsistent throughout the company. And you ask the first why question. Training for planning, measuring, and tracking is done ad hoc. Why is that taking place? It is up to a superintendent to decide how or if to train on planning work. Why is that happening? Because we don't have a standard baseline to train. Great use of the 5 whys. Out of that, they came up with a proposal to solve this problem with 8 steps. This is the team collaborating with all this input, drilling down through root cause and saying this 8-step process will solve our problem of how we plan and monitor our work. The follow-up is critical. Here they have a 10-step follow-up with responsibilities, due dates, and in the right-hand Notes column, they have noted when these follow-up tasks were completed by a project team and their leadership. The next example is another industry example, and I will enlarge the image to make it more legible to view. It says AH retrospective, and again at the top it lists participants. In section 1, the background is dramatically different than the prior example. They start out with a text, add a table with a milestone schedule, and they analyze variance plus or minus in days. They include 2 aerial photographs as part of the background of the problem. Then they go to, in section 4, they do a plus delta. Plus what is working, delta what they need to improve. In section 2, the retrospective comments are an output of the plus delta process. Keep doing, utilizing the last planner system. I applaud their efforts there. Allow time for pre-planning. Items like buyout, long lead material, procurement items, etc. And go into the bottom of the list. There's a weekly constraint call and team outings to build team cohesiveness. These are great things that they recorded that they should keep doing. And that's the first part of a plus delta. What are you doing right? Write it down. Under the delta, it's start doing. Second item, bring trade partners on early in design. I would recommend that to every project team. Going down the list, start using video conferencing. Include call-in options for CPD meetings. And the last item, grade ourselves on conditions of satisfaction. Also as part of the Delta process, stop doing list. And they came up with 3 practices they should stop. Sandbagging durations, so long lead items are not impacted. Duplications with shop drawings and submittals and construction documents. And a small trailer with no plumbing. I can support that one also. So the plus delta produced the keep doing, start doing, and an absolute list stop doing this to improve the processes. And then finally in the lower right hand quadrant of the A3, we have section 3, cost tracking. They have the planned percent complete graph for the various weeks, which is a lean tool. They have a pie chart and a 3-dimensional graph as well to measure their performance and the results of their efforts to increase their efficiency. And here they're measuring planned percent complete, PPC, and it is trending the right direction. Let's take a closer look at another example. We have the title, exterior skin selection for vertical surfaces. We have the names of the collaborators. Any stakeholder that can have any input in the selection of the exterior enclosure of a project. Next, we have the background. Here, the hospital exterior skin cluster group has been tasked with finding solution sets for the building exterior. Several potential solution sets have been identified for consideration. In section 2, problems statement, current state. Should the exterior be panelized or framed in place? What mix and what type of exterior system should be used? Which systems assist with meeting lead requirements for the project? How does each system interact with one another? Which mix will reduce construction schedule by a minimum of 3 months? Moving to section 3, future state or goal. There is a desire to panelize the exterior system to assist with enclosing the building structure, which impacts the overall interior finish schedule. All systems listed include framing or substructure support and insulation at frame conditions and locations. Shown graphically, they show option 1, option 1A, option 1C. Those 3 are supported with drawings. The next three options, 2A, option 6, and option 9, have representative example photographs. Moving to the analysis or thinking part, let's select one of the options, 2A, EFIS over light gauge panel system with an acrylic finish. Its benefits are schedule, warranty, and aesthetics. Possible LEED, as in LEED credits, and they list MR, EA, IEQ, and ID. Under compromises, cost, offsite transportation, offsite fabrication. And the right-hand column, estimated cost for this system is $61 a square foot of surface area. These costs are not current for today's market, but all of these options, they decided this is the part of the analysis to make the right choice. There is no correct template for this. For this problem, this is what these collaborators decided should be the criteria that they should consider for each of the options from option 1 down through option 7. Next, we have the proposal. What countermeasures or actions shall they take? They state, all options are on the table as design takes shape. The option that works best to support the building aesthetics, energy management, cost, schedule, durability, and constructability will be taken into consideration for different aspects of the exterior skin. A weighted CBA, choosing by advantages, scale to determine the mix of products used. There are many technical references available and books that talk more about how to perform a choosing by advantages, a CBA analysis, in determining which criteria should have the highest weighting in the decision process. In the end, it becomes a numerical score. And finally, the follow-up. The exterior skin cluster will submit our findings to the project team for further evaluation and design selection. I have added the following example from my personal life as a homeowner. This is outside of the LCI slide deck. The problem was how to reduce winter heating costs at home. The background is natural gas consumption and cost have increased 50%. And I also like to include electrical consumption cost for air conditioning in the summers. Current condition, exterior windows are old and leak. Attic insulation is too thin and insufficient. The gas furnace is as old as the house, over 25 years old, and it's very inefficient by today's standards. The goals and targets, reduce natural gas costs by 20% per month, and the same for electrical consumption. What could I do to solve this problem? Well, let's do an energy audit of the entire home, evaluating the furnace, the insulation, and the windows. So what are my countermeasures? I could replace the furnace and central air system. I could add attic insulation, and I can repair or more likely replace the exterior windows. So what is my plan? Obtain cost estimates for all the proposed solutions. Analyze it for potential for reducing natural gas and electricity consumption. First option, replace the furnace and AC. That was the first one we implemented. It had the biggest impact on natural gas and electricity consumption. Next, for aesthetic and other reasons, we replaced the windows several years later. And with an energy audit by the local utility, we found that our attic insulation could be improved, and the utility was offering a partial rebate. This took several years, as with many homeowners, it was constrained by cash flow. Follow up, implement it, and then measure my utility cost. So A3 can be applied as a problem-solving process to the most complex project problems, as we've shown in the several prior examples, to something as simple as how to make improvements to the home that you own. The decision process flow. So we have a work cluster on the left and we have an integration event on the right. In the work cluster, you create ideas as part of the A3 problem solving. You define the problem, you define what you want in your future state, you come up with options. The stakeholders together work back and forth. They analyze options, they look at cost impact, energy efficiency, appearance, aesthetics, lead, and other criteria. They analyze it to the COS, the conditions of satisfaction that have been determined by the project team, which typically include cost, appearance, sustainability, lead credits, possible life cycle cost analysis, how quick can this be assembled on the project, a schedule analysis. And out of this work cluster, which is the collaborators on the A3 form, out pops a recommendation to the project leadership team. The core leadership team looks at it, analyzes it, looks at all of the information that the team has put together on the A3 form, and the leadership team has three choices. First, they'll accept the recommendation. Great work, congratulations, pat on the back. Second, they reject it, throw it back to the work cluster and say, try this again. And the third choice is, we like most of it, let's slightly revise it, then let's implement the recommendation with some changes. I showed this diagram at the beginning to go from unaware to awareness. LCI offers many educational opportunities. At the unaware level, they're offering these 5 courses with different delivery, whether they're classroom, e-learning, or live webinar. If at the awareness level, you have target value delivery, and the last one is conducting gimbal walks, which is a classroom style. At the Congress, most years, and including this October, the last day of the LCI Congress includes a gimbal walk activity. If you will stay an extra day, you can participate in a gimbal walk on a local project. But the goal is to go from unaware to awareness, and then from awareness to understanding. And understanding comes from trying the new knowledge you gain on A3 thinking and becoming competent and mastering that. And the first time you may use it on something as simple as the problems I solved at my home to the most complex project problems. More learning opportunities. I own and have read all 3 of these books. This is a quick read in all 3. It's a way to get up to speed quickly, learn the vocabulary, the concepts. It gives you a big jump start on your lean journey. I'd recommend all 3 of these books, and leanconstruction.org is the link. Everything you need from e-learning opportunities to books is all available at that website. Other events for more learning include our local community of practice meetings. We meet the second Tuesday each month. Check the LCI webpage under Communities of Practice. Click on Greater Des Moines Community of Practice, and it will show you our calendar. Second, you can also follow our LinkedIn page, and I'll mention that in closing here in a couple of minutes. And by following our LinkedIn page, we post the announcements for next month's meetings with a single click to go to a registration page. All of our registrations are free, some are virtual, and some are live and in person. I mentioned the Congress every October is a great learning opportunity, and the design forum for the design professionals is held in May of every year. There's also the LCI instructor program. Check leanconstruction.org for more details and how to have several of your lean champions on your team become certified instructors. Other lean e-learning opportunities. What's great is you can self-report these courses for your AGCCM Lean like I have. These courses and other webinars with proof of registration will be accepted by the AGC of America. You can receive LCI badging, and what's great about eLearning is no travel, no hotels, reduced cost, and you can do the learning when you have the time and can spend the effort to learn a new skill. E-learning courses available now. Here are 5, with the newest being target value delivery. Go to linkinstruction.org, click on their learning link, and find out what is offered pre-recorded or live in a webinar basis, and sign up like I have, and I've taken many of the LCI webinars and learned more about lean construction. A lean tool that I highly recommend to everyone is Conducta Plus Delta. If this presentation were in a training classroom, we would do the Plus Delta on the whiteboard, listing what went right, what provided value on the pluses, and what we could change to improve the processes or outcomes is the delta. Today's presentation will use a different method. We're going to use a QR code that you see in the lower right-hand corner of the slide. If you'll use your smart device, scan that and complete our 90-second evaluation, that would greatly be appreciated. Thank you for your virtual attendance today at the LCI Greater Des Moines Community of Practice. Please follow our LinkedIn page to see our announcements and a quick registration link for next month's meeting. I want to thank this month's sponsor, which is myself with Carmichael Consulting Services. And in the lower left corner, you'll see the email address, lcigdmcop@gmail.com. Send an email to that address, and a PDF of today's presentation slides will be sent to those that we have verified attended the live presentation. Thank you again for your attendance. We hope to see you at our next event, the second Tuesday of next month.